really sure why this looks all blurry here. Let me try to figure this out real quick. Wow, we are extremely blurry. I do not know why. Well, regardless, hello everyone, and welcome to one of your favorite brand new WWE post-show reviews. I am your host, Taeler Hendrix, and this is my WWE Raw post-show, bringing you the flip side from someone who actually knows, pun intended. So as you guys know, welcome everyone. One of my least favorite things about the pro wrestling industry are all of these critics and wrestling historians and wrestling experts who rate matches. Oh, that match could have been 5 stars in Japan and all this stuff, right? And they basically dictate the self-worth of wrestlers who are actually busting their asses in this business. But the people giving those critiques have never once set foot in the business at all. They have never been through the trials and the tribulations that go along with trying to fulfill a dream in this business. So I want to give you guys a perspective from somebody who's actually taken those bumps, who's set up the rings, who's paid the dues, and so forth, and been in this business since they were like an adolescent. Like I was in high school when I broke into the business. So that is what I want to give to all of you who are tuning in with me today. We are not going to get into all that BS of the toxicity of the internet wrestling community. We're going to get right down to some of the good stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw today, because to me, that's what makes people come back. And ultimately, if you love wrestling, that's honestly what you should want, right? So, fun rant. Oh, fun. Is that supposed to be fun rant? I'm not sure. Let me know. Tell all your friends to come on over, share the link, share my tweet. We've got some really good stuff here. Yes. So today, I don't know about you guys. I'll ask you guys in a little bit, but I would rate tonight's Monday Night Raw probably a 6 out of 10. You guys know I tend to be a little bit more on the positive side of things because I want to genuinely see people succeed and do well. Honestly, someone's talking about people trying to cancel The Rock. I don't know what that's about. I did miss that. I did hear some rumors, but I don't know what it's in regards to. If you guys want to clue me in, I am one person. It's very hard to keep up with every single thing that's going on. So yeah, definitely fill me in and I'll try to read in the comments. So today I would rate this probably a 6 out of 10 because there were some very good segments on the show. Some of my favorite stuff on the show was, okay, the 6-woman tag. I was definitely all about that 6-woman tag. It being of Scottish descent and Irish descent, it was really amazing for me to be able to see 3 Celts in the ring. It's just so cool. That was really, really awesome. I know it took a lot for those women to make it there. And to be honest with you, I was on shows with Nikki ASH well before the time that, you know, I was going to WWE, well before she got signed to WWE, even before I was in TNA. So I really did see that girl work her butt off and pay her dues to get there. She is so passionate. She is such a fun person to be around. So I am all about that. And I've supported Becky Lynch since back in her Shimmer days. We follow each other on Twitter. So I've known her for a very long time. I watched her and Natty Hustle before they were ever signed to the WWE. So it's really, really cool. I'm really digging her heel turn. I think it needed to happen because, you know, she wasn't going to have that same buzz after being gone for so long. So it was a really good way. Yes, my dog Slinky is making some noise. My dog Slinky and my cat Sabrina. Taylor's tiny house on wheels, everybody. We're full of fur, laughs, and wagging tails. For those of you that don't know what that's in reference to, that a fan on here was just remarking about, I rescue and foster and adopt and work with animals. So at any given time, there's always a bunch of cats and dogs all around Taeler Hendrix. You know, sometimes I've got piglets and pigeons and chickens. All while doing the whole tiny house movement. So I have lots of fun. Whenever I tell you guys I'm going to do something or I'm passionate about it, there's usually a reason. So like I was saying, I was so excited about the 6-woman tag. It was like, who do I want to live for? I love Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan. I could seriously use more Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw, but I guess that's neither here nor there. Also, too, I really loved that Celt side of it. So I actually thought that they had one of the best matches tonight on Monday Night Raw, which is awesome to say, not just because I'm a woman, but because also people are a lot more critical of women's wrestling on TV. So this was a really, really excellent match to nail. Whoever produced this match, if you guys know, tell me, because they did such a great job. Okay. Hey, let me tell you guys some stuff that I picked up on real quick. I was so stoked. I picked up on shades of Sharon Martel, like old school 70s and 80s wrestling. And it was really, really cool because Becky Lynch did something that I do in wrestling with the whole standing on the hair, talking mad shit. Love that. That is super old school Sherry Martel. It is so awesome. It's such a ratchet thing to do that it's awesome. Loved it. The other thing that I really loved was when Becky had one of the girls in the ropes. I think it was Bianca Belair, but I'm not positive. I think it was though. She was laying the beat down on her. We sometimes call that meat chop because you just boom, 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 like meat tenderizing. And it was so awesome because it is not often, guys, that you see a girl crack out a European uppercut. Let me tell you, okay, I think it has been at least 5 years for me personally since I have seen another woman break out a European uppercut. So, can I tell you guys how excited I was that Becky Lynch was like, well, boom, right there live on Monday Night Raw? I was like, yes. Yes, girl, break out that wrestling, break out that old school wrestling. I was so stoked about this. And that's why I'm saying whoever produced this match did such a good job because what's old is new again. People get so caught up in trying to do 450s and 720s through tables that are on fire and them like literally killing themselves. But yet, a European uppercut, like, man, the chef's kiss. And people are probably saying in the comments right now, well, she's European. Guys, that has nothing to do with it. I can't tell you how many Europeans that I've come across in wrestling that do not do a European uppercut. Because the European uppercut is one of those strikes and moves in wrestling where there's no in between. It's either good looking or it's bad. It's either amazing or it's the drizzling you know what's, okay? It's the same thing with a spinning back fist. Either it's awesome, like when Eddie Kingston does it, or it's just rotten terrible. So I honestly, someone saying I'm sounding like corny, meaning Jim Cornette. The funny thing about that, I do not agree with everything that Jim Cornette says, but he's given me a lot of good teachings over the years back when, I was the One Girl Revolution. And so one of the things that's really funny that somebody brought that up in the comments just now, this was something I saw in this women's tag match was legit old school Smoky Mountain Wrestling with Jim Cornette. Okay, guys. And I tweeted that out because I was so in awe. I was like, what? What program am I watching right now that I just saw some Jim Cornette shit? So when I was first going to OVW, I was not signed to Impact Wrestling yet. The news hadn't even broke yet that Impact Wrestling was going to be the developmental for WWE for Impact. Okay, and when I got there, I was listening to Jim Cornette, who was the booker there at that time, and he was talking. He was just tearing this tag team a new one. Oh my god, I felt like secondhand embarrassment. It was that bad. I can't even tell you guys, right? And it was so cool because then he's like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? And it was a spot that I never forgot. No matter how many concussions in wrestling I have had, I never forgot this spot. He was like, as the babyface tag team, you should be so freaking pissed off that, the heels are tag teaming your partner so bad and the referee is keeping you out of it, which is allowing them to cheat and get away with it even more. You're supposed to care about your tag partner. You guys are a team. Why are you just standing there with your hand on the ropes like, like, get in there, kick some ass, right? And then he goes, you should have brushed past that referee, bip one heel, bip the other, bip them again for just good measure, hip toss your own opponent back into your corner, get back behind the ropes, grab that tag team rope, hold it, and get that freaking tag and come in house of fire. How awesome does that sound? If you guys are as big of wrestling fans as I am, like, you'll know how jazzed, like, watching that on live TV would be, especially if it means something. And you guys actually saw the reverse version of that spot with Nikki Ash when she dragged Becky Lynch back into her own corner after doing a little do-si-do. And then she holds onto the tag rope, which is so good. It's like she's cheating, but then she's also trying to show that she's not breaking the rules. I love that. It's such a heel move. Like, look, I may have cheated, but I'm still following the rules. And then she gets the hot tag. She comes in. You had two fails, which was awesome because it's like two reversals. A reversal. Oh, I got to reverse it again. Oh, I got to reverse it again between her and Bianca. It was such a good hot tag. It was so OVW, Smoky Mountain, old school. And I love that kind of stuff. I actually did that. Myself and Chelsea Green were a tag team at one point. We're the tag team champions for, I think, Queens of Combat. And we were going up against Mia Yim and Leva Bates, right? And I was like, yo, Mia, like, let's do some crazy shit. You guys are going to be dressed like Homicide and Eddie Kingston, so we have to go all out. Like, we got to go all out. Like, you got to go big or go home if you're going to be dressed like them. And so it was so great. They're tag teaming on Chelsea. I'm getting super fucking pissed that, the ref is not letting me get in, not letting me get in. I do my Matrix bend under, get both of the freaking heels, boom, big headbutt, hip toss Chelsea back into my corner. Come on, make the tag, boom, come in. And then I set up Chelsea, get her one. We set up for the Meltzer driver. It was so, I love that shit. That is why the 6-woman tag was arguably one of the best segments on Monday Night Raw tonight. I know that's a long story. I see the people coming in and coming out of this chat, but if you're leaving, you're definitely missing out on some good shizit, because that's what we got in store for you. I could talk wrestling all day long. All day long. I will be the hype woman for wrestling. Pat McCaffrey, me, tag team some commentary. We got this. Some of my other segments that I thought were really, really freaking good. Besides the fact, an additional side note, how many matches were tag team matches tonight? Who had that on their bingo card for tonight for Monday Night Raw? Not me. It was so awesome. It was so awesome. And especially because WWE isn't always necessarily known for tag team wrestling. And that hurts my soul. Because as a little young girl, I always wanted my sister to be in love with wrestling so that we could be like the sister tag team in wrestling. Obviously, it didn't work out. But I have always been obsessed with tag team wrestling. Back to when I was like little 17-year-old me meeting the Hardy Boys for the first time, and then years later I'm in wrestling and I'm on shows with them. It's just crazy. You never know who somebody's going to be someday, people, so treat everybody with respect. Oh man, it was so cool seeing so many awesome tag team matches and a 6-woman tag tonight on Monday Night Raw, because not only are you feeling the depth of the roster, but you're also getting more people getting more airtime on Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw is the more expensive show, with all of the paid programming coming in and the ad revenue. So that you want it to be good. If you're going to be on there, you got to bring it. And I think most of these matches brought it. Lita can testify to that. Well, yes, she can. But honestly, I just think there's so much good stuff going on here. So that is one of my side notes for tonight's takeaway of Monday Night Raw for tonight. Okay. The other thing that I really seriously enjoyed is kudos to the production team on the promo packages. They were so good. That's how you hype up shizits. That's how you hype that up. Remember when we were kids and we were waiting for someone to debut? Like, think back to when Chris Jericho debuted. How many weeks did stuff play before he finally debuted and interrupted The Rock? The thing near the ceiling nearly blew off of that arena that night. It was so good. I still remember that as a little kid, watching that as a playback on Christmas Eve, nonetheless. That what's old is new again, guys. So not only are you getting like old school Sherry Martel on the show, you're getting Smoky Mountain on the show. You're also getting killer promos, which leads to me to one of my next favorite parts of the show, The Miz's promo. You guys can hate on The Miz all day long, but The Miz has been such a great get for WWE. He has been so fiercely loyal to the WWE. He is living his best life right now. He has a smoking hot, awesome wife, 2 beautiful kids, his dream job. He also has his second dream job of being in movies and stuff, and all of that is possible because of his dedication to being a professional wrestler and sports entertainer with WWE. Like, you got to cheer for that. That is some really awesome stuff. So recognize. His promo was so good because he's putting over his opponents by not putting over his opponents, and that is a subtle art of old school promo work and storytelling. They teach that so much at Ohio Valley Wrestling. We did promos every single weekend, twice a weekend at practice, and I remember William Regal telling us at WWE as extras, there is no excuse for not being able to cut a promo. Zero excuse. You can cut like 10 different promos a day at so many different times a day, even if you're working a 9 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever. So many opportunities. If you show up as an extra to WWE and you can't cut a promo, what are you even doing? Like, what are you even doing there? Come on. Are you even serious? Like, for real? So this is stuff that I seriously love. The Miz, it was so good, and the way he just came out of nowhere for that tag match was so good. It's just so old school. That's why it works, because what's old is new again, and you guys love to hate him. That's money. You want to pay to see him get his ass kicked. That is money. You want to boo him before you even get to finish hearing I'm the Miz. Like, all you hear is I'm the Miz. Boo! That's money. Money. When you love to hate and hate to love, that's money. And he doesn't even have to do shit. All you have to do is hear his entrance. Boo! So good. Adding Logan Paul to that mix is also very good. Logan and Jake Paul with Triller and everything, that's going to bring a lot of eyeballs to WrestleMania. What do I mean by that, guys? Here is some actual legit lowdown figures that I recently just wrote about in a piece for Fightful.com. You guys, the crossover we didn't know we needed on SmackDown has definitely been Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. 2022, y'all. We did not see it coming. We didn't know we needed it, but I'm so glad that we have it. This has been a crazy few years. So to put into perspective why I think Jake Paul is a really good get for WWE right now, as is Bad Bunny and Johnny Knoxville. One, Bad Bunny has been selling out concerts left and right. They just added 2 concerts because the other one sold out so freaking fast. Johnny Knoxville, the reason why he is a great get for WWE on the road to WrestleMania is because Jackass Forever just recently dethroned Spider-Man No Way Home in the domestic North Atlantic box office for the revenue produced in the opening weekend alone. That's huge numbers. Spider-Man No Way Home was sitting very comfortably at the top for those record numbers. Historically speaking, they broke several different records, including revenue gained in the opening weekend. And they sat at the top for, I think, at least 6 weeks, at least. And then here comes Jackass Forever, right? And they're pitted up against another really high-profile film coming out in theaters. And Jackass Forever, without utilizing the hybrid strategy that we have seen since the pandemic, where they only did a theater release, not theaters and streaming app, they only did a theater, they gained over $23 million, which is more than double the budget it took to make Jackass Forever. And the reason why this is so important for WWE is because just off of ticket sales alone, I believe WWE made $6.2 million off of ticket sales at WrestleMania 37. So $23 million, $6.2 million. Can you see what I'm saying here, people? So these are great gets for WWE. The more money, the more eyeballs means the more chances your favorite WWE superstars get to shine and to show their true worth as WWE superstars and to keep the business going and thriving and create new fans, which is so important to pass down from generation to generation. That's why that kind of stuff matters. So adding Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville and Bad Bunny, that is going to drastically improve those sales, those numbers, merch, everything for WrestleMania 38. So that's one of the big reasons why I was really stoked about Logan Paul being involved with The Miz and Rey Mysterio. Now, I know you guys saw my tweet that I really missed that entrance where when you see the GIF, it's like you can hear it. It's like, who's that jumping out the sky? Rey Mysterio. Now, hear me out. WrestleMania, the biggest, grandest stage of them all, and we have that entrance with a simultaneously jump up from Dominic and Rey Mysterio. How awesome would that be? How awesome. It could be like the final time that Rey ever does that entrance. It would be so awesome. It would be like seeing our childhood transcend on screen. Another thing I really enjoyed was seeing Tommaso Ciampa. I love him to death. He was such a pivotal, I'm sorry, I had like something flying over here. And he was such a pivotal person for me in my career. Guys, you do not want to be on the business end of that knee. Can I tell you guys, like, because I have firsthand experience with that. You do not want to be on the business end of that knee. Oh my God, concussed me to the F out. It was crazy. It was nuts. We had a tryout match together at OVW, and he was so awesome. Tommaso was so great. I know him. I've met his wife so many times. They're such amazing people. I wish them nothing but the best. He saw that the only people available for me to wrestle in this OVW tryout camp weren't going to be a good fit for me. So he decided to take one for the team and wrestle me, and it ended up working out great for both of us because we both look freaking amazing. Because I mean, it's Tommaso, and I was like young and green, so I listened to everything he said. We had one of the best matches in the tryout camp, and then I killed it with my promo, and it was just so awesome. And I always went to Tommaso for advice on, wrestling psychology, putting matches together, and all this other stuff. So with how much experience I had gained from him, I always want to see him do well, guys. And he has been in WWE since like WWE was OVW developmental. You know what I mean, as Thomas Penmanship. So he has been steadfast in his belief that he was a WWE superstar for a couple decades. Like, he is so amazing. Now, I did not like the song they changed to, which was also a very popular opinion on Twitter tonight, going through Monday Night Raw. So I'm glad it wasn't the only one. But guys, how awesome was it to see Tommaso on Monday Night Raw? He has earned it. So has Bobby Roode, by the way. But I just I love Tommaso so much because he has always maintained like who he is. And we were actually both at the same tryout camp for WWE in 2015. So I am so happy to see the journey that he has had and growing into the man that he was meant to be someday. I think that's amazing. Recognize that. I want to see more of that. And that energy in that match also is one of the reasons why it made it one of the best matches out of everything on Monday Night Raw 2 nights. I would say that was in my top two, the 6-woman and that match. And then third was also Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, but we'll get there in a minute. Tommaso and Bobby Roode, they brought it. They had that energy. They were wrestling. Like, I put out that tweet, "This is wrestling," because that's exactly what it was. It was a very good way to mix up the sports entertainment with some wrestling. And that's what you want on a WWE program, because WWE's audience is not the same as AEW's audience. So a lot of the people that are indie wrestling fans who, kind of have a negative opinion about that for WWE, they have to understand their own market. And that's why I loved this match so much. Not only did it give Dolph Ziggler some more legitimacy into what he's doing, because I feel like he's just been floating. He needed purpose. This gives him purpose. It also ties the NXT roster to the main roster on Monday Night Raw. And it was such a great old school wrestling match. And it was hard hitting. It was fast. It was aggressive. You had adrenaline pumping. These guys came to show their worth. Gotta support that. Loved it. A lot of you were shitting on the roll-up, but hey, the roll-up works for a reason. The roll-up is also a really great way to counter something and get a surprise win. That's sometimes why they do it, and I think it was really great. They showed a lot of good continuity, and they were telling a story within a story on how Bobby Roode was able to navigate away and avoid Tommaso's knee, but then Tommaso was able to give that same knee to Dolph Ziggler. It shows a familiarity between the two competitors, which is a little story within a bigger story. And that's why the roll-up actually works. To me, that's the magic that people seem to miss because they get so caught up in being negative. You gotta shine light on little things, because the little things are what add up into the big things on the show. Okay, I don't mind being the hype woman for this, guys. I've got all of this. I got it. One of my other really big highlights is I love supporting Damian Priest, dating back to our Ring of Honor days. He is somebody that works so hard behind the scenes. He's always studying. He's always trying to get better. He's always been true to who he is. He's never tried to put up a front to fit in with anybody else. He's always been one of those types of people where this is who I am, take it or leave it, but I'm gonna do me. That's the type of personality he is. He's not trying to, ruffle the water, ripple in the water, so to speak, but he's also not trying to be somebody he's not. And I like that. I like that energy. I like that for him. And because we were going to have a storyline together at Ring of Honor, I actually got to work in close proximity with him for a short period of time. And I really got to kind of understand who he is as a person, but also as a performer. So I really like this heel turn for him. I like that for him. And I like Finn Balor being his foe for this, because I think with all the experience that Finn Balor has, it's going to be a really great tool for Damian Priest to actually continue to grow as a superstar on the main roster. He's got the look, he's got the talent, he's going to get you guys to love to hate him. It's going to be money, and he is definitely going to be elevated by working a program with Finn Balor after working a small program with AJ Styles. I mean, those are people that are really going to elevate your game. And if they don't elevate your game, that's not on them. It's kind of on you. And you can see that he is actually taking that seriously, and he is learning from the experience, which is sometimes very hard to do with all the pressures of live television with how much money that costs, especially on Monday Night Raw. We're talking thousands upon thousands of dollars per minute of WWE programming time. Like, we're not talking chump change here. So this was such a great match. It was really, really well done. There was nothing that was glaringly bad about this match. It told a very good story. It did exactly what it needed to do to get you guys to care more about Damian Priest. It gave more legitimacy, again, to Finn Balor, who I do think was kind of having very similar issues as Dolph Ziggler, where they were kind of floating on the main shows and didn't have as much of a purpose as they should. And this was a great way to give that purpose back to Finn Balor, while also adding a potentially heated rivalry that we haven't seen yet, which is always good, because when you get recycled the same stuff over and over, it's like, okay. So this is new, it's fresh, it's exciting, it's a great learning tool for Damian Priest. It's also a great way to kind of bring back that Finn Balor that you guys have been missing, perhaps Demon Balor, who knows. I would not be mad if I saw that match 2.0 at WrestleMania, and I think this is a great way to turn Damian Priest heel. I really, really do. Me personally, it was one of my favorite parts of the show. And also, I think we all were so excited about Edge's announcement. I tweeted out, I was like, I want to see AJ Styles versus Edge. And I have been saying that since before the Royal Rumble, and I was like, oh, I am visionary. Not really, but you know, hey. Seriously, guys, though, Taeler Hendrix on the WWE creative team. Can you imagine? My Mount Rushmore for like the WWE creative writing team, right, would totally be like the McMahons, Paul Heyman, Vince Russo, Bruce Pritchard, Dutch Mantel, Taeler Hendrix. Oh man, that writing team would be so kick-ass. Some of your favorite stuff from the Knockouts division at Impact Wrestling was actually booked by Dutch Mantel and Vince Russo. And then obviously Vince Russo was one of the writers who was writing during one of the single most profitable times in WWE, when the WWE was beating the NFL in ratings. And then also add Eric Bischoff in there, and the Paul Heyman vignettes that he writes are so good. When you guys were really, really digging Liv Morgan before that storyline with the whole Bobby Lashley and the wedding stuff, those vignettes before that were written by Paul Heyman, and they were so good. So good. It created such a big demand for Liv Morgan, and honestly, I still want more Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, so 6 out of 10, guys. Please write in the comments, what would you rate WWE's Monday Night Raw episode from tonight? What would you give it out of 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. You guys obviously know, like, don't try to be like extra cool and say it was a 1, because we know it wasn't. It wasn't a 1. But those were some of my biggest highlights. And I also want to put a little bit of a spotlight for a second, so to speak, on Tamina Snuka. Did anybody else catch her immaculately timed facial expressions tonight on Monday Night Raw? Did anybody else catch those while I'm waiting for people to rate Monday Night Raw tonight? Oh my God. her facial expressions at any given moment were like, oh, what life choices have I made in my life to make me be involved in this moment? It was so funny. I don't know if she meant to do it on purpose or if she was just feeling her feelings, But her facial expressions were on point. They just worked. And that's what made it so funny, is because I don't actually think they were intentional. So like, shout out to Tamina, girl. Those facial expressions were money. So my takeaways from tonight, for anybody that is still with me on this, we're getting a lot of 6 out of 10s, by the way. We got 1 9 out of 10. My takeaways were, I was really, really excited about the 6-woman tag. I really enjoyed the United States Championship match with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Also one of my favorites, and I can't believe I forgot this. It's the whole reason why I'm wearing my goth girl hat. I love Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Like, when baby Taeler Hendrix was breaking into Ring of Honor for the first time, I met those guys and I was in locker rooms with those guys quite a bit. And they're living their best lives now. It's amazing. It is amazing. You can feel it with everything that they're doing. Like Seth freaking Rollins right now. It's just so funny. So awesome. He is just living his best life. And it's so great. But Kevin Owens in that cowboy hat, like, I couldn't take it. I was like, that was also a really big highlight for me, as well as Hurt Business getting the win. As you guys may or may not know, I wrote about this quite a bit for Fightful.com. I really feel like they broke up Hurt Business too soon. I was really enjoying Hurt Business as a bigger group. And I also think that this is one of the best times in Bobby Lashley's career. So that's also really, really cool. I've always been a huge fan of MVP. But yeah, man, their match, that Cannonball is so good. They're living their best lives. Their chemistry is on point. Yeah, you know, they're seeing so many WWE superstars right now living their best lives. It's just so cool. Sami Zayn, every weekend on SmackDown, you just see him living his best life. You know, you got Seth freaking Rollins being Seth freaking Rollins and Kevin Owens. It's just really, really awesome. That was also a highlight for me. So takeaways, let me redo that, since I personally messed up and I do apologize. The 6-woman tag was awesome. I was really excited. We got to see 10 girls on Monday Night Raw tonight. It was like, whoa, awesome, crazy awesome. Let me see here. So the 6-woman tag was really, really good. I loved Seth and Kevin Owens versus Alpha Academy. That was really freaking good. I loved Tommaso versus Bobby Roode. Glorious. I also really, really enjoyed the United States Championship match with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I also really loved how they ended Monday Night Raw. Guys, it was so good. You could see like this inner dialogue going on in the head of Edge, and the commentary was doing such a great job with them kind of leading into this sort of, I don't want to say addiction because that has such a negative connotation to it. So I'm going to explain. What I mean by that is like, this addiction to what you do for a living, like being in the spotlight, that need to perform, that need to not transcend, to not pass the torch, but to always stay relevant, that need, that drive. You could see where commentary was leading, and then the facial expressions and the mannerisms and the way with which, like, he was, you know, debating in his head, the inner dialogue, you know, having a conversation with his inner demons. You could tell that was going on with Edge as he was preparing to figure out if he was going to lay out AJ Styles like a freaking pancake with the 2 chairs. That was so good. So good. I loved that. So those were some of my absolute favorite aspects of Monday Night Raw tonight. And the reason why I gave it a 6, probably closer to a 6.5 out of 10. I'm definitely super stoked to see AJ Styles versus Edge. I've been wanting that since, I've been pushing for that to be at WrestleMania since before the Rumble. So excited. The vignettes for Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns were awesome. They were so good. Give those people a freaking raise. They deserve it. Pat McAfee hosting Vince McMahon. That is going to be classic. To say he has one of the most lucrative podcast deals is such an understatement. He is somebody that took people's doubt of him and turned that back around on them and became a smashing success, even bigger than what he dreamed of when he was trying to get into the NFL. That's amazing. Edge being heel is just, I almost just said phenomenal, and then I stopped myself because I was like, ooh, bad choice of words there, Taylor. Pun intended, but not. So good. I'm really stoked. I think we're looking towards the beginnings of a really, really good WrestleMania. Hopefully Hopefully, especially with all the new eyeballs that are going to be brought in from people like Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, and Johnny Knoxville. All right, everybody, don't forget to comment below. I'm going to stay open on this YouTube live video for my WWE Raw post show for you guys to make some comments and remarks and tell me what you guys thought of Monday Night Raw tonight. What are you most looking forward to seeing? How would you rate it, 0 to 10? And what are your favorite parts of the episode? All right, guys, Edge turning heel. Yes. Obsession is a better word. Absolutely. It is an obsession. Edge is obsessed with WrestleMania. He has to stay in. Aw, thank you for saying I look stunning. Aw, yay. I tried, everybody. Just living my best life over here, you know. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me for this post show. I am loving doing these. I hope you guys will stick around with me as I continue to do more. I know you all have so many options out there for post shows with CBS and everyone else with Fightful and everybody else who hosts a podcast and stuff. So I want to say thank you for everybody who is wanting to join me every single week for this. What I think is different that I bring to the table that not a lot of other people can say is, while they may be giving honest reviews of what they think, absolutely, but I'm giving you a point of view from somebody who's actually been there, who's actually done this, who knows some of these people, and who's actually made this their living, their way of life, and paid dues in this business. Because to me, that gives a much different perspective and credibility as somebody who is a published author and a professional wrestler who has been signed to television. I've been wrestling since I was 17 years old, so the chances are I've come across most of these people, and I have. So I want to give you guys a different perspective that you can only get here and nowhere else. This has been the latest YouTube live for Taeler Hendrix on my YouTube channel, All Things Taeler, for your official WWE Raw post show. Thank you guys, everybody, so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys for my live review for SmackDown this Friday. Talk soon, everybody.